Hello everyone, my name is Sini Issac. I am currently an intern in LEXIS and Company. The topic which I am going to cover in today's video is kidnapping and abduction. So let's get started. What is kidnapping? What is abduction? Aren't they both the same? These thoughts might come us in our mind a lot of time. Here, the Indian Penal Code has specified what the two are and in what sense are they both different. The Court of Law has also tried to fill in the gaps whenever required. The video will explain the meaning of both the terms, their essential and punishment for them. Section 359 to Section 369 of the Code have made kidnapping and abduction punishable with varying degree of severity according to the nature and gravity of the offence. The underlying object of enacting these provisions is to secure the personal liberty of citizens, to give legal protection to the children of tender age from being abducted and seduced for improper purposes, and to preserve the rights of the parents and guardians over their ward for custody and upbringing. The section for each of the term under IPC has been given for the reference. Apart from the differences of the offence of kidnapping and offence of abduction, the abrogated form of these offences have been also mentioned in the video. The category of offence related to kidnapping and abduction is dealt under the head of kidnapping, abduction, slavery and forced labour under the Indian Penal Code 1860. Of these terms, kidnapping and abduction are used simultaneously, but the code has separately dealt with them. So let's start in detail about both the terms. First, let us understand kidnapping. The meaning of kidnapping is not given as such, but the kind of kidnapping is provided in the code. It helps us to understand the actual sense of kidnapping is. So according to section 359, kidnapping is of two types. One being kidnapped from India and other being kidnapped from lawful guardianship. Each of them is separately provided in IPC. First, let us understand kidnapping from India. Section 360 explains the concept of kidnapping from India. If anyone takes a person out of the limits of India without his or her consent or without the consent of the person entitled to give the consent, then the offence of kidnapping from India is committed. Example for it is that Arshia takes Ashu from India to Sri Lanka without the consent. So this is a simple case of kidnapping from India. Second is kidnapping from lawful guardianship. Section 361 of IPC deals with kidnapping from lawful guardianship. When anyone takes anyone away from or any minor or a person unsound mind away from the keeping of their lawful guardianship without their concern or consent. In this case, kidnapping from lawful guardianship is happening. For the purpose of this section, any boy below the age of 16 years and any girl below the age of 18 years is a minor. So the example for this is Arun is a boy who is 11-year-old and under the legal guardianship of his father. Anil, the neighbor, takes Arun to the water park on the outskirts of the city without the consent of Arun's father. So this is a basic case of kidnapping from lawful guardianship. There are two exceptions to section 361 and they are he is the father of the illegitimate child and second he is entitled to lawful custody of the child. Now let us see what is the punishment of kidnapping. Section 363 of IPC deals with punishment for the offence of kidnapping. The punishment prescribed in this section is simple imprisonment or rigorous imprisonment extendable up to 7 years and fine. So now let us understand what is abduction. When a person compels a person or induces a person to move from one place to another using dealful means of force, it is a case of abduction. Section 362 of Indian Penal Code deals with the offense of abduction. It is not mandatory that physical force has to be actually used. Even the threat of using the force is enough. So the example of it is that if Anita puts a gun on Alicia's head and asks her to go from her home with her, she threatens Alicia that if she does not go with her, she will shoot her. She goes with her because of the threat. So this is a simple case of abduction. Now let us see the essential of this section. This section requires that there must be a forceful mean. For the conviction under this section, the law requires that there must be use of force and at least a mere threat. Further, if a person uses deadful means under the alternative to abduct a person is also said to be an offense under this section. Second is to go from a place. In the offense of abduction, the movement of a person being abducted is necessary. Abduction is a continuing offense and requires not only moving the victim from one place but also being moved from one place to another. If a victim is handed over many times to a different person, then each of such person becomes liable for the abduction if there is an intention. Now let us see the difference between kidnapping and abduction. The key difference between the two offenses are kidnapping is a complete offense, hence is a substantive offense, whereas abducting is a continuing offense, is an auxiliary act which becomes an offense only when coupled with intention. Kidnapping has types in it, and one under section 361 is specifically for kidnapping of minors or of such person with an unsound mind. In abduction, there is no such specification and is generally applied to everyone. Now let us see the aggregated form of kidnapping. The various forms of kidnapping and abduction offences are as follows. So let us now move to the conclusion. Kidnapping and abduction are generally dangerous acts which harm the freedom of person. Section 359 to Section 369 go a long way in securing the liberty of people. They give protection to children against kidnapping and abduction. Moreover, they reinforce the rights of guardians to have control over their child who are easily moved and convicted by word of conspiring adults. The number of abduction and kidnapping cases is enormous and is only increasing. There is a dire need to prevent these heinous crimes and stop the culture of kidnapping and abduction from spreading, especially when it is done for marriages, forceful sexual intercourse, or forced begging, etc. To overcome these offences, not only the state needs to work together, but also a core task among the nation needs to be cultivated. Moreover, it is needed to be understood that criminal would go around the law and indulge in this act. What is required to prevent this offense is hand-in-hand working of non-governmental organizations and government bodies and more sensation. So I hope that this video helped you to understand the concept in detail.